Alright, so this is Journey. I guess without further blah blah blah, because we are behind schedule, I'll just kick it off. We'll go in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so in case you haven't played Journey, first of all I highly recommend it. You can pick it up on sale for just a couple of bucks, and it is beautiful. It doesn't take a lot of commitment, it's like 2 to 3 hours casually. This is, by the way, not casually, we are out of bounds already. I'll talk about this a little later. I like to call Journey an experience, really, it really is. And it's a walking simulator, but I mean this in the best possible way, really. With the left stick, we can just walk around. There's not much magic to it. With the right stick, you turn the camera, as in pretty much every game, and other than that, there's only jumping and chirping. I'll show off chirping in just a second when this cutscene ends. It has a couple of nice use cases where you can chirp flyers towards you. Let me explain flyers after that. More about the jumping part, though. You see the Wayfarer, which I'll have to call Herbert. Don't ask me why. And so if you hear me shouting angrily at someone called Herbert, well, that's the Wayfarer, so this figure we are playing. The scarf, when you jump, there's some glow to it, and you'll see the glow gets shorter when we jump like this. And as soon as there's no glow left, we cannot jump anymore. And there are several ways how you can replenish your scarf. Well, I botched this one. You can touch anything that is cloth-like in this game. There are flyers, there are banners. What am I doing even? You know what, I'll quickly guess I'll go back. That is faster than doing the backup strat, really. So, yeah, you can touch anything that is cloth-like and it will replenish your scarf. Or you can touch symbols. Symbols will also, when you touch them, make it so that your scarf gets longer, but since I'm playing the category Scarfless, that means I'm not touching any symbols and I'll work with what I have when I start the game. But when you've collected all the symbols at any time across any playthroughs, it doesn't have to be in one, you'll get access to the white robe, basically New Game Plus. What this allows you to do, as opposed to the red robe, which you would have when you start the game for the first time, is as soon as you touch the ground, your scarf will also replenish. And we can do funny things with that, especially when you tilt down the camera towards the ground, the Wayfarer will go into a dive. And when you dive, you charge up momentum. And as soon as you raise the camera from the ground, you will start to yeet yourself high into the air. And as I said, when you touch the ground, your scarf replenishes, so you can dive into the ground like I do right now, and the camera keeps down, and you are building up momentum. You can do this basically infinitely long as the ground in front of you is flat. Yeah, so that's a pretty neat strat, and you'll see me do that a lot because it's fast, and after that you can boost high into the sky like this. Why do we go out of bounds in the first place, other than it looks funny? There is, at the end of every chapter, a cutscene called, we call it the history lesson, so it usually goes like this. You chirp to some tombstones to activate a shrine. You then sit down into a glowing circle to meditate at that shrine, and this will start the history lesson, a cutscene. And after that cutscene, usually a gate opens or something, and behind that gate will be the trigger that loads you into the next level. But that is super slow. No one wants to watch cutscenes in a speedrun, so instead we try to go out of bounds and go around that gate to hit the loading zone right from out of bounds to save some time. There are, however, a couple of chapters where we cannot do this, so then we'll have to watch the history lesson. And there's not much to explain actually in this level that I wouldn't have explained, that I didn't explain earlier, so I guess, Xonaris, if we have any donations or anything, that would be a good time.
That is absolutely no problem, because we got a few donations here. We got $25 from Dorian Snowball, saying, "Let's go, Rob. I want to see a good ski." Not sure how you're supposed to say that.
Oh, happy blalala to you as well, Diddly Dorian. Thank you so much for the donation. It's a great cause, so everyone who can spare a dime or two, you certainly should. Blalala, by the way, in case you didn't know, is the best BTTV emote on the world. If you don't know it, go and learn about it.
Some more?
I guess one more, because there's a history lesson coming up, yeah.
Sure, no problem. So we got $15 by Peanut saying, have a great rest of the week. And thank you very much. It will be if you keep watching. Back to you.
I'm sure it will be. History lesson. In the history lesson I will talk about the next chapter. Chapter, by the way, is in this game interchangeable with level. So the next chapter is called Sunken City. It's a huge slide party and it's really fun to play casually, because the movement is super smooth. But we ain't have time for that. We'll try to go out of bounds pretty much 10 seconds after getting into the next chapter. This is a very precise trick, and depending on the frame rate, it is harder to get the higher the frame rate it is. And on PS4, which I'm playing on right now, so it's on 60 FPS and it's rather precise. The game came out in 2012, if I'm not mistaken, for PS3. Back then it would run on 30 FPS and it would be much easier to get this skip. So I'll have to focus a bit as soon as I'm approaching this. And I only have one shot. If I fail it, I would be forced to slide past it, but I can restart the chapter. It'll cost me like a minute. We'll see how that goes though. In the meantime, you can enjoy this gorgeous game, because the view is really beautiful. But weirdly enough, the more you break it, so when you go out of bounds, I just think the game gets more and more beautiful. It is really, really paradox. The last time this game was at ESA was in 2012, by the way, and it was a glitchless run, pretty much, all symbols, so it was like 50 minutes, and you didn't see any of this of these advanced movement strats, which we call fancy flying. And I can highly recommend anyone that really likes this game to put some time into learning fancy flying. Fancy flying opens up a whole new world. It really makes this game something else. It is such a satisfying thing to do. It is a bit hard to learn, but as said, I think it's really worth it, and exploring out of bounds is in this game just the greatest. Okay, I'll focus now. That was nothing. Daenerys, donations. That'll cost me a minute.
Yes. Here, let's go with this one. I got $25 by Frufsa, I hope I pronounced it correctly, saying, my grandma just got diagnosed. Let's fight this. That is really terrible. I'm so sorry to hear that. Makes it even more important that we're raising money for this good cause here. And I just, by the way, just realized, looking at the screen, we surpassed $34,000. Let's go!
Let's go!
Yeah, keep them coming in order to reach our 100,000 goal. There needs to be a lot more, but every single dollar counts. So keep them coming, and thank you so much for donating, everybody.
Right, did anyone pay attention? Because initially I wanted to suggest that I donate $5 for every bonk, but I wanted to cap it at 100 and wanted to say I'm sure I won't bonk more than 20 times. I'm not so sure anymore. I'll watch it back and I'll do it nonetheless. Oh boy, that's another minute. The nerves really got the better of me there. What you gonna do? So, Xanaris, you think you have another one for us?
Yeah, I have. I'm just making sure that I'm not reading anything wrong here. Need to double check a few things. But this one here is pretty simple. We got a $50 donation by Anonymous without a comment. But thank you very much for that. It's going towards the Stepmania Rhythm Game Showcase of Eurobeat. So if that gets me, we got to hear a lot of awesome Eurobeat songs. And I got another one here for you. We got $13.37 from Manu, I assume, saying greetings from Lautre to Robsdedude, saying also, you just missed the choir practice session. The choir. Yeah, thanks for those donations.
There we go, finally. Alright, so now we are out of bounds, and we'll do a dive with a as flat as possible angle to keep as much height as we can, roughly like so. And this is really what I mean. Like this part of the run is really my favorite. It is just pure beauty. I guess unintended beauty, but who cares? It is a gorgeous view. I'm really happy that my estimate is very generous, by the way. I don't think I'll go over my estimate. This is what I say now. Ask me later again. Look at this beautiful skybox coming up. Alright, I guess I can talk a bit about the next chapter, because this one is basically over. We'll just do another U-turn and we'll hit the loading zone. And the next chapter, Underground, is one long drop shoot, except for two things. If you've played this game casually, you'll know there is a jump scare, and that one really got me well the first time I played this game. But if you go fast enough, you can just avoid this jump scare altogether, because you're just too fast basically for the game to register what's going on. You'll zip past this so-called war machine. War machines are these enemies in Underground that you really do not want to touch, because if you do so, first of all, you tumble over, which will cost you time. But secondly, it will shorten your scarf, and since I'm playing Scarfless, this would be really fatal. So I'll do my best to avoid the war machines. And this jump scare works by basically forcefully turning your camera around 180 degrees, which is also for the drop shoots a really bad thing, because it would cancel your drop shoot. So we want to avoid that just by going fast. By the way, in this room there's a symbol. It is placed very conveniently to pick it up accidentally. It happened once to me, and that would turn this Scarfless run into an any % run, really. So it wouldn't be the end of the world, but it would not be the category I signed up for. Right, so this room behind me was exactly the room where the jump scare would have happened, but luckily we are fast enough. And at the very end of Underground there's another small optimization that we can do. What you heard was a war machine. They sound dangerous, they are dangerous. At the very end there is a force field that activates around a shrine, and you cannot chirp inside the force field. So you cannot progress to the history lesson. However, you can start the chirp before entering the force field and release it inside of it, which will save like 5 seconds. So you can sit down to history lesson while the force field is still active. It goes kind of like this. The two things behind us are war machines, by the way. Yeah, that one worked. There you go. You'll see the camera zip into the force field right now, and that saves a couple of seconds. I guess one more if you have one, Xunaris.
A longer one or a short one?
Go with a long one.
Sure. Awesome. We got $69. Nice.
Nice.
From someone who donated earlier, and I think I butchered that name, so I'm gonna try again. So it's Marinelinea. That's a lot of yeah. It says, my grandma suffered from Alzheimer's. May she rest in peace. Hence why I'm more than willing to support this important cause. Keep up the great work, ESA. As for Rob, I wish you the very best of luck. Fly high, fly fast. Smiley face. Thank you very much for that donation. I'm sorry for your loss, by the way.
I want to take the opportunity to also say thank you very much, Marin, Frusa, Manu. I hope I didn't forget anyone who donated. It's really for a good cause. And I think my wallet will be a bit lighter after this run as well, because it's a really bad one. So I'll count the bonks when I'm done with this. And as said, $5 for each, kept at 100. Right, so the next chapter is Tower. It's a vertical one. And you'll see me do a new trick that I haven't done so far. I've explained the drop shoot, but we'll do a reverse drop shoot. It's basically the same thing, but we'll do it towards the camera. It will look a bit glitchy. I guess it is a bit glitchy. you are drop shooting towards the camera, so you'll have a huge hairband right in your face. It makes it really hard to navigate the level because you see little, and on top of that you are looking upwards. We do this because the amount of boost you can charge up depends on how steep the camera is. The steeper it is, the more you can charge. And yeah, when the camera points up, it is just much steeper. So we can get a stronger boost from this technique. Let me watch the timer real close so that I know for how long to do this. And hopefully I'll be able to transition into the whale room to do another RDS up here. Oh, that doesn't work quite well, but we'll fix that in a second. And in here, after I boost off the ground, I'll go for a backup strat. I'll pause the screen while flying towards the ceiling, and this allows us to clip through the ceiling. I don't know what you have to do in a game to make it so that when you pause that the bounce disappear, but only at the ceiling, like the floor still exists. That's a really interesting glitch, and it allows us again to skip the history lesson. Also above us, the whale, a carpet creature, really gorgeous, but we don't really have time to play with the whale, sadly. We'll just go sipping past it. Pause the game and see how we are out of bounds now. Easy. There we go. The next chapter is called Snow. In Snow, the game changes a bit its physics. When you go too far into the snow level, first of all, you'll get frozen, which makes it basically impossible to drop shoot or to jump very high. And you walk slow and everything. So we want to avoid this at all costs when we speedrun this game. On top, generally, snow is really hard to keep a good drop shoot. I don't know what exactly they changed, but the game really wants to pull up the camera and ruin your day. So I'll do another new strat called Charge Boost here, which is basically like a drop shoot, but into a corner between the floor and the wall, which will also make it so that you just don't move forward, but you are charging up your boost. And there's a small spot here where we can slip out of bounds. There we go. And now comes basically the hardest part, a long drop shoot, hoping that the camera does not raise. That looks quite promising. Let's see how that goes. So at the very end of Snow, spoiler alert, we will freeze to death. There's a way to avoid it, but none in the speedrun, because it's just the shortest path to get to the trigger, which will make you freeze by climbing the mountain from the side from out of bounds and hitting the trigger at a very precise position. And I guess while we are waiting to die, so as soon as I hit the trigger, there's nothing I can do. I can just wait, or instead I will just try to fly to some friends, because dying not alone is just the better thing to do. But until then, I guess, Sonaris, if we have one more, that would be a good moment.
Well, we have more than one more, but you know, you just cut me off. I got $25 from I'm Being Iron, saying, good luck, Robs. That's a pretty short one. We got $15 here by Sebastian107, saying, special greetings to Robsdedude from Kaiserslautern, Germany.
Lautre.
Saying, FS Info is watching.
Nice.
One more?
Yeah, one more.
Perfect. We got $20 from Ardo Rick, saying, Blelele, have a great run, Rob.
Guys, you are amazing. I just gotta put this out there. This support is overwhelming. I did not expect this. Alright, so we are landed here, and if we look up now, you'll see two war machines that have been parked here out of bounds, waiting to be used. I'm not sure if they are used in the next cutscene or if those are the war machines that will chase you when you play the game casually. Anyway, I'm afraid we are dead now. The next chapter is already the last chapter. It's Paradise. And Paradise, again, the physics of the game are shifted, but this time quite to the opposite. So instead of being slower and having a harder time to boost, this chapter really wants you to fly high. So I will try to dive as flat as I can while picking up as many flyers as I can, because every time flyers get chirped towards you, you will be raised into the air a little bit. And I'll try to not lose too much altitude while doing that. And I'll do 2 boosts from there, and then at the very end comes, I guess, the hardest trick, except for Sunken City out of bounds. That's the ski. So at the very end, casually, you would walk a very long passage into the light, which takes like 1.5 minutes. The game will take away your scarf and make you walk extra slowly with the most how do you say? I'll find the word in a second. No, I won't. Dramatic. Yes, with the most dramatic music that it has to offer. But instead, if you hit the ground just right, you'll be able to skid the whole way, and hence we call this the ski, because this path is snowy and we're just sliding across it. And we'll see how good I can get this. So right now I'm very gentle on my left stick, and I'll try to keep the camera angle rather flat to not lose too much height. And off we go. You see how much height you can gain in Paradise, it's really amazing. Just before I lift off for the second time, I will touch the water, or some call it the goo, to replenish my scarf one more time so that I have enough scarf to boost into the ski. Alright, we go up, we go down, we pray for the best. Ah, that should work. There we go, that's time. Well, I was actually hoping, thank you very much, I was actually hoping to mess up the ski, honestly, so that I have time to read out my shoutouts during the run. I'll do that right now, but I'll really hurry up. First of all, to all the people that helped me learn this game, like, the Journey community is one of the most wholesome and open-hearted communities, so if you have any questions regarding this game, like how to speedrun, how to do any fancy flying, just go ask people. First of all, Banch, thank you very much, and happy birthday, Banch. Nathan, Pexa, Rebi, Ava, Over, Nichero, Wolf Squish Game, Stoic Mom, and special shoutouts to Asama and Nathan that are commentating on the French restream, and they are also runners of this game, and beautiful people like all the people that I just mentioned. And Dorian Snowball, thank you so much for doing the German commentary for Germansch. And yeah, that's it from me. Thank you all.
Awesome, thank you very much, Robs. That was a very beautiful and wholesome game. And yeah, after this is something that is probably going to be very beautiful, but in a different way. So coming up next, we got airplane mode. And I just quickly want to say, before we go into intermission real quick, you probably have no idea what airplane mode is. And you are maybe thinking right now to turn the stream off and do something else. But I beg you, I insist, please watch at least the first 5 minutes of the next run, and if you're not convinced after the first 5 minutes, feel free to leave. But you will be, so please stick around. So yeah, quick intermission. We're gonna set up the probably most hilarious run of the marathon. Yeah, please don't go anywhere. We will be right back after these few ads.